Welcome everyone, this is Mundan. This video we are going to run the container in our system. In previous video we have seen how to pull the image from the remote registry. In this video we will try to run the container by using the image. There are two scenarios that you can see. Let's say you have the image in your local, so it will try to run the container by using the local image. If you don't have the image in your local, it will try to pull the image from the registry and it will try to run the image as the container. So we have few scenarios to discuss here, which is nothing but first one is the running container. If you don't have the image in your local, then we will see later stage if you have the local image. So first of all, it will prefer the local image and it will try to run the container. Then we are going to list out the containers that we have in your system and we will see the status of the container as well, whether it is in the stop state or it is in the up state. Then we are going to stop the container if it is running already. And we are going to start the container if it is stopped earlier. Then we are going to remove the container. So in order to remove the container, it should be in the stopped status. Then we are removing the container. Then after stopping or after removing all the containers, so related to the specific image, then we can remove the image also. So we are going to see this kind of commands in this video. So let's jump into the VS Code. So first we are going to see, so what are the images we have in your local system? So Docker image ls-a. Here you can see you don't have any images in your local as of now. Now we are going to run our container. And in this time, we are just going to pull the image of the Nginx web server. And here we mentioned the -d, which is nothing but the daemon thread, or you can mention like a detached process, which will run in the background. So rather than you are seeing all the logs in the console, it will be running in the background. And -p stands for publishing. So we are publishing 8080 port from the local host. On your left-hand side, whatever you mentioned as a local host port number, and 80 is the port number of the container which is running in your system. And we can give the logical name, or let's say any reasonable name that we can identify for the container, -- name web, and we can mention the image name. Just copying this, paste, and here we are going to download, or we are going to pull the image of Nginx. Enter. First it will find in local, so it's not able to find the image in the local. Then it will try to pull the image from the image registry from the remote. Then it will try to run it. After a few seconds, it has downloaded the image from the remote registry and it is running the container. So just to prove that, we can see what are the containers are running currently. So for that, Docker container ls-a. Here you can see the container is running with the container ID starting with 6ADB and the status is up, and it is up for last 24 seconds. And here you can see the port number 8080, it's the local, and 80 is the port number of the container, which means that if you are making any request to the 8080 port from your local host, it will redirect to the port number 80 from the container. Just to confirm that one, we can go to the local host, port number 8080, enter. Here you can see Nginx server is up and running. Now let's say I want to stop the container. So it will be just like a Docker container stop. Either we can use the container ID or we can use the container name. So I will prefer to mention the container ID or image ID whenever you are dealing with the containers or images, which will be very unique. So for that reason, Docker container stop, and I am giving the container ID. Even you don't need to give the entire container ID, you can give at least 4 digits. 6ADB. Now you are getting the positive response. Now, if you see the containers, here still we have the container and it is having the status of exited. So which means that still container is present in system, but it is in the stop status. Just to confirm that, again, we will go to the local host and just refresh that page. We can just close it. Yes, you can see. So now currently there is no process or no server is running on the port number 8080. So this is the way we can confirm. Again, let's say if you want to remove the container, again it will be like a container, Docker container rm. Again you can mention the same, the container ID 6adb. Now it is stopped as well as it is removed from our system. Just to confirm that one, container ls -a, here you can see there is no container running, but still we have the image in our system. So whenever we want the container to be run for the nginx server, we can run it, but that time the container ID will be different. Just to mention that one, so we will see the images. You can see here, since we have already pulled the image of nginx, we have the image here and it has its own image ID. Now we will check the second scenario, which is nothing but in local, you have the image of the nginx. You want to run the nginx web server as a container. Again, it will be the same. So this time I am going to give the image ID rather than the image name. Here F652, enter. Here you can see you are getting the response positive. Now if you see the container list, here you can see again the container is running with the different container ID, which is different from the previous one, but still it uses the image from the existing one from the local. So we have the local image called nginx and image ID will be F652 starting. The same image is being running now as a container. So let's say now we want to remove the container that we have seen already. Let's say we want to remove the image itself. So in that case, first of all, you need to stop the container. You need to remove the container, then you need to remove the image. It should be the correct way. So let's say container. First, you need to stop it. Let's say stop. We can use the container ID. In this case, EB069. Enter. Now we have stopped the container. Still, it will be in the system with exited state. Yes. Now we can remove it. So container rm EB069. Now we have removed the container also. Now if you see the container list, here you can see you don't have any container running in your system or any container not even in the exited status. So there is no containers in your system. Now I want to remove the image. So in that case, so Docker. So before that we will see. So what are the images we have in our system? As you know that Docker image ls-a. So we have the image of nginx here. Now I want to just remove that image. So Docker image rm. Here I'm going to give the image ID rather than the container, because now we are dealing with the image. So we need to interact with the image ID. So F652, enter. Here you can see it is deleted. Now if you want to see the images that are present in your local, it is empty. So that means that, so even you can remove the container, you can stop the container, you can remove the image, you can pull the image directly, or you can run the container directly by pulling the image and running the same image actually. So these are the different scenarios that we have discussed in this video. So just to recollect again. So we can run the container if you have the local image. You can even run the container if you don't have the local image. So in that case, it will pull the image from the local, sorry, it will try to find in the local registry. If does not, it will go to the remote registry and it will pull the image. Then it will try to run the container. While running the container, either you can mention the, let's say, image name or image ID. And we have seen what are the command that we can use to list the container, to stop the container, and to start the container again. And most of the places we have used the container ID or image ID, which is a unique ID just attached with the container or image. In order to remove the image, first of all, we need to know, so what are the containers are running in that containers. If any container is using the image, we need to stop the container, we need to remove the container, then we can remove the image also. There are some ways that you can forcefully remove the container or images, but it is the best practice that you stop and remove and again you remove the image. So this is a very basic commands how to run your Docker image as a container. And we have seen some of the extra parameters like -d, -p, and the port numbers. So this is all about the very basic things, how to run the Docker container. So thanks for watching and have a great day.